you know, the very first episode. Do you know the title of the first episode?
Mm-mm.
It's called the Sages Are in the Pages.
Gotcha.
And right from the beginning, we wanted to make the point when we say wisdom of the sages, we're not talking about ourselves, but what we're saying is that there's this whole tradition of of course, there's that sage, Srila Vyasadeva. There's a beautiful saying. I should learn the Sanskrit for it, but it says that all the sages have borrowed from the infinite mind of the great sage Vyasadeva,
Hmm.
right? That he had the capacity to tap into the Veda, this body, universal body of eternal knowledge, and categorize it and get it down in written form. And then, but what is he sharing in from that Veda? It's all stories of other sages and the
Right.
wisdom that they shared.
Right.
And so we wanted to be clear that when we say wisdom of the sages, we're not the sages, but the sages are in the pages. The sages are in this text, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And it's affected our lives deeply, but it's affected so many listeners' lives deeply. And so let's hear from them about how basically the process was daily hearing, right? Hearing from the Bhagavatam on a daily basis. Does it work? It says in the book that it works,
That it
right?
worked.
It's yeah,
Right.
yeah. It says you listen to this book on a daily basis and something awakens in you. Your life changes. So we thought that today we would reach out to listeners, people that have and hear from them how it's affected their lives.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Govardhan Ecovillage in beautiful Maharashtra, India, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a bhakti-yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubh Das. Welcome to the show. Happy New Year, beautiful people. And we are here on a very special edition. This is our 6-year anniversary. 6-year anniversary. We're doing a special show today. We got a handful of people live, and we're going to unmute some Zoomers. And the real theme today is, how has hearing the Bhagavatam on a regular basis changed your life? Is it doing good stuff for you? Where were you at before that? What's your story? It's sort of a meet the pilgrims. It's great to be here live. I like doing the show with Kaustubh sitting right next to me. He can't. Good to see you again, Prabhu.
Wonderful to see you.
Nice, right?
Welcome.
Govardhan Ecovillage is more beautiful than ever.
It's wonderful.
Great people. Running into old friends. I feel like people are like our old friends now.
Well, there's certain people we meet here every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
That come from around the world, and they're always here in January.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we always meet new people too.
And there's new people.
They become very dear to us very quickly.
Yeah, and the other group leaders bring groups.
Yes.
And we cross paths. That's so super nice. Have you been?
It's been just every moment is just so nice. Met the new group here that's here today. Taught my first class to them.
Yeah, we have a great group with us.
Absolutely wonderful people. Day before, there's an Italian group here, and I got a chance to speak to them, and they were also wonderful. So just every day is nice stuff going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nothing tragic?
Not yet.
I just like to keep it spicy a little bit. I'm still jet lagged.
Yeah.
Still a little jet lagged.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
Yeah. When you get jet lagged, it's not like normal, like I'm tired. It's like, hi. You just like click off, like someone unplugs the cord and you're just like out of it.
That late afternoon that kicks in and you can be in trouble.
Yeah, I just got hit by that.
But because you're doing the show, you're going to blow through it.
I feel that Pranapriya is like, okay, it's time to go. We have to leave. We're walking out the door. Splash your face. Do it, whatever it takes. I'm like, Now I know what it's like for people who, I was always like a quick waker upper. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's start our day like that. And there's always people like, oh, all right, slow it down. That's how a lot of people are too. Now I know what that feels like.
You were there, huh? You were that.
I was that person about 8 minutes ago. But I'm flying now.
Okay. Well, why don't we do a little reminiscing and then bring on some people and they can share, because it's not just like our podcast. It's It's a podcast for the people.
Well, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast was, I think the first one was for myself.
The first what?
The first reason why do a podcast on a
Oh,
regular
I see.
basis, because it's important for me.
But before we do that reminiscing, why don't we bring Prana Priya on here and
Prana-
let her to give announcements, right?
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
You got some
before we-
announcements?
yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
It's your anniversary too.
Yeah, it is.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. That's
And
special day.
of course, we started a year before this, even
Oh.
because we started with Super Soul Sacred Sangha, which morphed into the podcast. Super Soul Sacred Sangha was only recorded on Zoom. It was never recorded as a podcast. I
It's
wonder if we
interesting.
have those missing.
I do. I have them on a thumb drive or
It'd
something.
be so interesting.
Some interesting stuff there.
It's interesting though. I was thinking about the first ever episode of Wisdom of the Sages from the GEV, and just how like there was such spotty internet. There was the first one. I think we tried to do it outside on that yoga deck right outside.
Yes. We're like, let's do it outside. It'll be cool.
Got dark very quickly, as opposed to this like beautiful yoga podcast this beautiful podcast studio that we're in now that they've built, that opened a year ago today.
Yeah. There was a lot of trial and errors, how we did this podcast. And it's sad to say, we still haven't got it down technically.
Difficulties on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm sad to report. Let's see, announcements. The next show will be Monday next week at the same time, 6 a.m. Eastern time. We'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, if that works for Kastub. Yeah. Okay, great.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And then also the Sage group registration for the next round closes tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So it's your last chance to sign up for a Sage group. And if you want to sign up for a second one, a third one, you're allowed to do that too. But sign up before 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight.
All right. Are they all filled up or filling up or?
There's a few spaces left. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, the podcast has become a whole thing. It's like a whole village, and so many people I feel connected with from the podcast. I have a whole second family,
It's true.
a functional family, reasonably functional.
It's true. Yeah, I do have fond memories of us launching this 6 years ago today, out on that balcony. I think the second day we brought it inside. We couldn't
Yeah.
figure out how to deal with the echoes. I remember you were sitting on like one side of the room. I was
Oh,
sitting on the
yeah.
other side of the room, and
We did,
yeah,
yeah,
and but we got it started somehow,
yeah.
and it was a wonderful group that year that we had here, a large group. I
That was
remember.
2020, pre-pandemic.
Yes, just pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
That was
January
right before the
1st,
whole world
2020.
collapsed, like in so many ways.
and you could see how it was Lord Chaitanya's magic.
Hmm.
Because it forced everybody to, okay, we're going to have a lockdown. What do we do with our life? And people started looking for podcasts.
Yeah.
And that was, 5 weeks after that day is when I got on Joe Rogan.
That's right.
Joe Rogan texted me in India,
Yeah, I remember.
hey,
that
what are
night.
you doing? Want to come on my podcast?
Yeah.
So I went out there for that. You couldn't have created a more magical thing. You get on Joe Rogan. First of all, we start a podcast.
A month
Then you get
later.
on Joe Rogan. I forget to announce our podcast on Joe Rogan, but Damodar Priya gave me as a birthday gift. I think she was here that year.
Yeah.
A Wisdom of the Sages iPhone cover, and I had my phone. And Joe Rogan said, "What's that on your phone?" I said, "Oh, that's Wisdom of the Sages. That's my podcast." And you want to hear something really embarrassing? I bragged to Joe Rogan. I was like, "Yeah, we got like 100 listeners." It's so stupid. I was bragging. Oh my God, that idiot.
Well, we had 10,000 the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite amazing.
Yeah.
Quite amazing. You couldn't have thought that, dreamed that
No,
up.
if he had mentioned you on his podcast several times before that over the years,
He mentioned me, yeah.
and you were hoping, oh, I wish you would invite me on the podcast, but it was just a month after we started this podcast that we kind of had our act a little bit together, and then he invited you. So that was a Christian
Unbelievable.
miracle.
Because if we would have done it 1 month earlier,
If he would have invited you 1 month earlier,
it would have been an interview. People would have
Yeah.
probably liked the interview, saw the interview, but that would be it.
But you wouldn't have had anywhere to send the people.
Yeah. So the fact that we had a podcast up, it all got sent.
Yes.
Quite amazing.
Yeah.
Quite amazing.
That was perfect. And in any case, and I bet speaking for the two of us, I suppose it's really just shaped this part of our life. It's
What-
been daily. Up
It's been
until
daily up to
recent.
recently, but
But
it's
even
been a big, like, when we're dead or dying
yes,
on our deathbed,
yes.
when we are dead, and I'm putting that Tulsi leaf in your mouth, and I'm saying, Kastub, I love
a
you.
great day for a great day.
Let
the
I'll be
magic
going,
flow.
and we're reminiscing with that Tulsi leaf. Maybe we're both dying at the same time. You're giving me yeah, Prabhu Priya is putting Tulsi leaves in her mouth. We'd both be saying, what a great chapter that was in our life.
No doubt. Yeah. And in one sense, I almost feel like it's a chapter that won't end. Whatever happens, we don't know, but something
Are
about
you
our
saying
life.
you're going to take this on without me?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I'm
What do
saying
you
that
mean by that?
I'm saying that we have a connection and that's connected to this podcast that
Ah,
whatever we do with the rest of our life, I think will be in some way growing out of that. I mean, for all we know, we'll be doing this 20 years from now, or whatever we're doing is somehow connected to this, I think,
yeah, it could be like The Simpsons, like the 20th season or something
Hey,
like that.
we're 6 in, 15 goes quick,
It goes quick.
Yeah.
It's just 6 years.
Yeah.
That was quick 6 years. I can't believe we did do it every day. That was quite amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. But any case, what we wanted to do was really, the very first episode. Do you know the title of the first episode?
Mm-mm.
It's called the Sages Are in the Pages.
Gotcha.
And right from the beginning, we wanted to make the point when we say wisdom of the sages, we're not talking about ourselves, but what we're saying is that there's this whole tradition of of course, there's that sage, Srila Vyasadeva. There's a beautiful saying. I should learn the Sanskrit for it, but it says that all the sages have borrowed from the infinite mind of the great sage Vyasadeva, right? That he had the capacity to tap into the Veda, this body, universal body of eternal knowledge, and categorize it and get it down in written form. And then but what is he sharing in from that Veda? It's all stories of other sages and the wisdom that they shared.
Right.
And so we wanted to be clear that when we say wisdom of the sages, we're not the sages, but the sages are in the pages. The sages are in this text, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And it's affected our lives deeply, but it's affected so many listeners' lives deeply. And so let's hear from them about how basically the process was daily hearing, right? Hearing from the Bhagavatam on a daily basis. Does it work? It says in the book that it works,
That
right?
it worked.
Yeah. It says you listen to this book on a daily basis and something awakens in you. Your life changes. So we thought that today we would reach out to listeners, people that have and hear from them how it's affected their lives.
Sure.
And I may just kind of duck out a little bit because it'll just be more convenient, at least for when we have people in the room that are going to share.
Okay.
And otherwise, we can also go to listeners that are here online with us on Zoom.
Maybe let's start with Verity.
Verity, why don't you come out?
Verity, come on down. She's one of our pilgrims, and this is her second time at the Govardhan Ecovillage with us. Hey, Verity, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Just a brief little backstory of how you got into all this.
Yeah.
Into all this bhakti. Where are you
My-
from? And this is one of those mics that you got to speak right on it. Okay.
Yeah, so I listened to the podcast, got introduced to it for a friend of a friend in COVID.
During COVID. Okay.
And
wow.
then, yeah, then just got addicted to it and just listened to it every day since. And
You're
then
living where?
I live in Berlin.
In Berlin.
Yeah. And then a year ago, came here and met all you fine people. And then the hook was sunk.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I actually was thinking it was like a year ago now that it was like first day we all sat down for the live podcast and you went, Verity, come up here. And I gave the perfect example of what the term you used earlier was someone that doesn't know nothing about nothing.
I don't know nothing about Well, it's one of those things that you were in Berlin, like were you going to an ashram or a temple, or you were just living your life and listening to the podcast?
Yeah, I've been doing yoga for a really long time. So I was doing like
Okay.
Jivamukti yoga, Kundalini yoga. Yeah, just floating around, grazing from the spiritual buffet.
Okay.
and trying to find my path, I guess.
Okay. And here's the $1 million question. Hearing the Bhagavatam on a regular basis, has it affected you, and in what way has it affected you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. It's so interesting to talk about it because everything's kind of been in my head since then. So, but yeah, I guess coming here, well, firstly listening every day and seeing both the sacred texts and with you both, just like bringing it alive. Yeah, it's just been super inspirational and just kind of got me on the path really. So then I came here and it was, yeah, wow. I mean, I've had some incredible experiences that I took away with me and now have a daily practice. And yeah, it's given me a lot, like it's given me so much really. Like, I guess the thing that it's given me the most is hope really, because I always thought like, oh, I've got to go live in a cave and that's not really convenient. So now I don't have to do that, which is amazing. And I also feel like I have, yeah, some principles to live by, a standard to hold myself to. And I feel like I'm able to constantly improve now. And yeah, just kind of asking myself, why am I doing this thing? And I guess that's changed kind of everything I do, really, like who I talk to, what I talk about, life decisions, that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's you did make a very relevant point, how it was when you click in with people personally. There's something about hearing it on a regular basis, and there's something about hearing it with people coming together in a holy place that is very powerful too, which is, I think, these retreats
Yeah.
facilitate, the retreats we do back at home. And yeah, when you're holding hands, so to speak, with your friends and teachers and that camaraderie, it just sinks something deeper in your heart.
Yeah, for me, like I have to kind of personally, I have to kind of realize something for it to kind of like stay with me and to sink in. And yeah, I got so much of that through the wisdom training. Like Kostuba just kind of like transmitted his devotion through, every single day. And that kind of, yeah, that is now within me,
Beautiful. Yes, Kostuba's got a question.
And don't, if you don't feel like you have a good answer for it or whatever, don't worry about it. But because I'm just curious, we've entered the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam now. So there's there's a lot of wisdom that we can get from these texts about our lives, and it can change our life. It can help us make better decisions. It can help us become more disciplined. It can help us do so many things. But now we're in that part where it's talking about like awakening feelings, like devotional feelings for God in a personal way. Has that part of the Bhagavatam touched you in any way? And if it hasn't, or if you can't express it, that's fine. But any thoughts like on that?
So I was listening, kind of playing catch up on the podcast. So like, I think when I first got here, I was like, I don't know what part of your life I was in at that point, but I was like, I was playing catch up. I was playing catch up. I think you would, yeah, I can't remember. So then it was like really, I started listening live like a year ago. So you're right, it's been that time. And I guess I've been listening more attentively since then. And I guess it was really interesting to kind of develop a trust in the faith that I've always had, because my father's a priest.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a Franciscan monk. Well, not monk, but he's part of the Franciscan order. And yes, I've always had faith, but it's never really felt like, yeah, like personal. And I think that, listening to the pastimes that we've been listening to has just made it, yeah, I've been able to kind of develop that personal feeling, I guess, because when I have learned through you guys about how there's so many paths to Krishna, and hearing all of the different pastimes makes you, have an affinity with one of those paths. And that's one of the things I really love about this community and this practice. So, yeah. And hearing also, I think you said a few times about the pastimes that you love, Kostuba, and I think you're talking about how at the end of the day, when Krishna and Balaram come back, And like when I hear this devotion and I hear that, and then like, I can then develop my kind of
Sure.
personal relationships as well.
Is your father still alive?
Yeah.
And does he know you're into this?
Yeah, he does.
Think. Let's get to the bottom of
It
this.
was really interesting because I actually felt like I kind of was able to develop a bit of a closer relationship with him on this level, because last year, Kostuba was talking about St. Francis, and then I started talking to my dad about this, and it turns out that in a booklet that my dad has from like, I don't know when it was, it's one of the kind of groups within Franciscan tradition, and they talk about the principles of bhakti. Yeah, so he knows about it, and he kind of got it out when I was last at home and was showing me this like super old.
You mean that there's like a relatively modern book that's popular in the Franciscan order where they draw from our tradition of bhakti and share.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I'd love to see that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much.
Beautiful. Haribol. Verity. Yeah. You can't hear, but people are clapping. I don't know if you can hear that. All right, who we got next here? Let's get, yeah. Come on down, Stace. Now, in the old days of people getting into bhakti, we're dealing with 17-year-olds, high school dropouts, college dropouts, and then we have this lovely lady here.
Are you saying I'm old?
You are old, but so am I. We're at the, because in the old days that's what it was, all a bunch of kids getting into
Yeah,
it. And so a
that's right.
person, and usually it's our parents warning us, like, careful with this cult. But you're getting warned by your children, perhaps.
Yes, people in my family, it's all voodoo.
Yeah, it's all
You know,
voodoo.
Voodoo, and I have imaginary friends that I talk to.
Yeah,
That's how they see it.
that's so interesting. And your story is you're a doctor, right?
Yeah.
You live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Tell
Yorkville, Upper East Side. Yeah. My office there. Yeah.
okay, so
I love New York.
well, how do you stumble upon this podcast or Bhakti or the Bhagavatam?
I was taking classes at the Bhakti Center in New
How do you
York
stumble
City.
upon that?
I was just listening to Kirtan and going to Kirtans like at the Omega and places like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just thought it was fun. I wasn't really paying attention. And then I have another spiritual path that I do. And a time I came back from a week of that, and I was kind of at a high level, plain. And then I went to the Omega Center, and then it was like I felt Krishna, like Krishna just came to me.
Interesting.
So like the merging of the two paths. And yeah, so I was taking classes, and then I was trying to remember how I started the podcast. I think you gave a class at the Bhakti Center. It was like an all-day retreat, and
Okay.
Radhanath Swami was there
Oh
too.
yeah.
And we had yoga on the roof
Yeah.
and all that. And it was right about the time you were starting the podcast
Yeah.
somehow, although maybe right before
Or right after.
or right after. It was before COVID. I know it was that, but it was right around the time.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and I remember you gave a wonderful talk, and Rana Swami like was making these jokes about how like funny you were and your approach, like kind of unconventional you were.
I don't have convention.
And I didn't know you or anything. And then I think you mentioned your podcast there. That's when so I started listening from the very beginning. But I'm an other. I'm not live.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
Yeah, I'd have
anyway.
to look up the date. But
So anyway, what a story. And so
yeah,
then-
and then and I mentioned this last time I was on a year ago, that I actually listen to it at night, and it puts me to sleep, but in a
Thank you.
good way.
Thank
But it's not an insult.
Okay.
And I was trying to think why that is, and I think because after the day, I try to stay on a higher plane again in my work and everything, and not, like kind of be of the world, in the world, but not of the world, kind of.
Beautiful, beautiful.
But I get pulled down, of course, like everybody, and a lot of darkness, a lot of heaviness. And then at the end of the day, I get into bed and I listen to you guys. And
That's so nice because a lot of people want to zone out, including myself, at night, and they don't want to. They don't necessarily go to bed on those high notes. They go to bed on let's just watch a movie. Let's do this. Let's scroll around. But that's
Yeah.
so nice to that's your habit.
Yeah. And I think I was trying to think, why do I fall asleep? I think because it just relaxes me and I feel like, oh yeah, now I'm being brought up again. And it's like a lifeline. And then I let go and then I just have a really great sleep. So
That's nice. That's practically an answer right there for how the Bhagavatam helps your life,
Yeah.
changes your life.
so
Has it brought anything? Has this type of philosophy brought a different twist to your life?
well, yeah, just
Besides, it puts you to sleep.
just, knowing that the material world, is Maya. I mean, just like really,
Right. That's a
really,
nice way to put it.
really feeling that because, everybody's taking it so seriously. I have all my patients are depressed. I mean, they come to me, they're already,
Are
everyone.
you a therapist?
No, not at all. Functional medicine, integrated medicine. And they're very ill a lot and nobody can figure out what's wrong with them. And so they throw them all on antidepressants and anti-anxiety
Did you see that
medications.
this morning in class? I was just saying, you take the fish out of water.
Right.
He's unhappy. And you think, well, you're unhappy because you got to get on antidepressants. No, you don't. You got to get back in the water. You got to get back into your spiritual life. We're spiritual people that forgot.
And I look at them and I think, if I thought this was all there was, this material plane, I would be depressed
It's
too.
depressing.
I would be depressed too. But
I'm trying to fall in love with everything that's I'm going to have to leave behind.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
But they just don't know that there's something else. They don't know there's a spiritual realm. They don't have the experience of it. And
maybe this is your next stage in medicine.
well, I don't proselytize to them about it, but I think just holding that space and that energy, does affect them and it gives them hope. And sometimes people start asking me, what do you do? What are you into? Why are you
nice,
so happy? And, so
then very happy.
So certain people, I will bring that in, I will start to talk to them about other paths that they might want to try or, seminars or different podcasts.
Think about it. People want to be happy. That's why they go to a doctor. I mean, they have some issue, but they want to be happy ultimately.
Yeah.
And even if their body is sick, you can actually give them some type of weighted joy.
Yeah. So
beautiful.
It's not direct. It's like an indirect, but again, like holding that for them. They can feel that, I think.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
It's great having you. We've been all around the world together with the India pilgrimage, went to Nepal, and you're here. And you've been here before, too?
No, this is my first time.
First time at the Govardhan.
This is already, oh my God, we've been here less than a day, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been here forever.
Yeah.
Oh, Kirtan class was fantastic.
Oh, good.
Really amazing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You for sharing. All right, Ball.
Yeah,
why don't you sit in this chair? Maybe we should unmute.
Okay. I just was thinking about what she was just sharing. Stacey was sharing.
Yeah.
It's interesting that an intelligent Upper East Side, New York, professional
likes us,
would have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
But
those type of people stay far away from us.
They shun us. But no, but that could read these texts, take them seriously, hear from them on a daily basis, and develop like a mature, rational conception that there's a realm beyond the one that we're living in, and that faith can change, can allow her to kind of transcend what the others that she's dealing with are having so much trouble with.
I love how she said with such firm faith. Well, it's just that the material world is Māyā. It's like,
and we will be depressed if we don't realize that.
If you really invest your faith and love in a sandcastle, of course you're going to be depressed.
Yeah.
It's only a matter before it
starts to
top
crumble.
Comes in.
Yeah.
It was very nice. It's so good. I like this because we just get to hear it from different people's mouths, and their realizations are so significant.
Very significant.
What do you say we unmute somebody, Pranapriya?
Greg
Gesu, the informant, we call him on the show. He's always got some special.
Sometimes the disinformant.
Yes, sometimes he's filled with disinformation.
And,
Greg
yes,
from Atlanta, Georgia. How are you?
I'm good. I just want to say thank you to all of you for, the 6 years. It's been amazing. I mean, really
And you've been here.
life-changing.
You've been here from
Yes.
the beginning, right? And how did you
Episode
stumble onto the
106.
episode 106? That's pretty
few months in.
an early adopter.
Yeah, it
And
was
how
like
did
the
you
end
get
of
into it?
April. I think I was having a John V. Harrison moment, and I saw her on Namras, and then I think Wisdom of the Sages was mentioned, and I'm like, what's that? And boom.
Oh,
So,
You know, it was-
so you were already into bhakti a little bit?
Yeah, what happened was in my history is that I had the seed planted back in 1985 in Finland. My brother got married in Helsinki, and I met two women in a park. I had a little bit of an alone day, and I was a rocker back then in a band, long hair, all that stuff. And they wanted to take me somewhere for free Indian food. And I'm like, sure, you're taking me for free Indian food? Let's go. So next thing I knew, I was in the temple in Helsinki, and I see John Lennon and George Harrison on Chant and Be Happy, and I'm like, oh, this is right, George, yeah, okay, let me get japa beads. Went back to Rutgers, spent about a month following the regs, all the regulations. Started going to the Tawako Temple and taking people to Sunday feast. And then it kind of fizzled out. I went back into my atheistic, sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle that I was in a happening band at that time. I still needed to fulfill, my material destiny, it seems. So I wasn't really ready. But it planted a seed, and I never forgot. I went through all kinds of I was a very psychedelicized musician. I was very influenced, as you all know, by the Beatles and Dylan and Bowie and all the greats, Velvet Underground, you name it.
I'm picturing you with a pair of Ray-Bans and a Rickenbacker guitar right now.
I started out on a Rickenbacker,
right?
and
You
moved
see?
to a
You
Tilly
see?
Deluxe. Yeah, so yeah, this was like a progression. And then, when you're in music and all, you start you're thinking deeper. You're an artist, whatever, and a songwriter, and you're reflective. So at the time, the timing was really good in that I continued onward, and then I got into like Buddhist stuff. I studied Eastern philosophy at Rutgers, stuff like that, and I opened my eyes to Eastern thought. And my psychedelic usage was always based in a traditional, very ritualistic. It wasn't like party time. It was like, put on the Javanese gamelan and the Indian flute music and work our way up to Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd. So, I was always had a very looking for depth. I was always looking for depth. And to forward this a little bit, I went through the whole Buddhist tradition, Zen, very traditional Japanese. I've been up to monasteries and do silent sessions and all that. Just be quiet, count your breaths. And I still had so many questions. And I'm like, but I was trying to read the magazines. I didn't understand the Buddhist translations. It was very lofty. And I came down to Atlanta from New York City. And I found, what is that, Shambhala, Chogyam Trungpa's lineage and his son. Overview, both of my Buddhist leaders fell during the Me Too thing. They did very, very bad things for a very, very long time. I was very depressed, and people in the community were fighting at our meetings. I said, I just want to dance. I just want to be happy. And then a light bulb went off. And I said, there is a Krishna temple. Krishna temple right down yonder. So I drove over, only 2 miles from my house. And I met Kamalakshi, a devotee friend, and I joined the Gita study group with her and her future husband, Abhi Santosh. And the point I want to make, and into the literature part, is that, I spent that first year at going to the Atlanta temple and learning through the temple and doing Bhagavad Gita study group. So this is what was missing the first time around. I knew about the Gita, had no idea about the Bhagavatam, never heard of Sri Chaitanya. It was a very it was a different time. And I didn't have proper instruction. This time around, however, and what was so different than my Western Catholicism, it was based on a slower pace, like you come to it. And I came to it via a Gita study, and then Wisdom of Sages appeared, and it was kind of like, okay, you're ready for the Bhagavatam now. You know, you're ready for, as Prabhupada would say, the graduate program. So it kind of played out, and as Henry said before, Krishna had a plan on the chat board, and I think that's a good way to sum that up. Is in my Catholicism, it was always quick. You know, the nuns would yell at you, and you've done wrong, and you continue on this path. And I had a priest tell me, you're on your way to hell. Holy cannoli. You know, that's a lot to lay on a high schooler. But on this path, it's not about saying, yeah, you know, I'm saved. It's about like the process, the chanting, the translation of the words alone, you know, all these little minute details, learning about the temple, learning about obeisances, learning about showing respect, you know, quite a reflection that's different of the material. So I feel very, very fortunate, you know, and then I came to y'all and I understood the groundwork of the Gita. And I embraced reincarnation and just thought, like, I got a long time to go, man. You don't have to get it now. It's not a heaven or hell dire situation, you know? So that's what really stole my heart. And then in the Bhagavatam, all these amazing, amazing stories that are just incredible, you know? So that's kind of my overview of the story. I can, you know, I want to leave space for others, but I just thank you both. You know.
Thank you, Greg DeGaste.
Thank you, Greg. It's for us. Greg is the kind of guy that we see every morning.
Every morning he's here.
Right. Every morning he's here, and
family member.
Yeah, knowing that someone, that it means that much to them, that they're there always. You know, it's very. I guess you could, in a sense, call us teachers or whatever, but for a teacher, that's it really gives you a lot of it's a kind of response that really makes you want to be there yourself.
To show up.
Yeah, to show up yourself.
Thanks, Greg.
And also, it's also the Bhagavatam is a living, breathing mantra, right? It's an entity. It's been going on forever, and so I just want to, you know, show my love to this whole community of people and the sage groups. It's like this living, breathing demigod on its own. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's an important realization. You know, that it's not just a book. You know, it's said that it is Krishna, that Krishna is present in this age in the form of this message, you know, and if you have that faith, then you relate to it in a different way than just a book, because a book is something that it's just kind of like something of the past, you know, like a long time ago someone wrote this down and maybe I can gain something from it, but it's kind of like it's gone in one sense. But to think of the Bhagavatam as you're saying, living, breathing, alive, conscious, it's not a one-way thing. It's kind of like it speaks to us, we can speak back to it, and it can respond. And it really does, you know, it really
like a Ouija board.
It's I wasn't thinking exactly Ouija board. I was thinking a bit more. But,
Ouija board.
Is that what you do with your Bhagavatam at night with a flashlight on? You gotta...
questions.
Could have a Wisdom of the Sages edition Ouija board. Maybe that would look nice.
Oh, okay. Well, we'd have to come.
All right, Craig. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Greg.
Thank you. The show rolling. Is there anybody else on the?
Fill them up with bhakti.
Okay, too. Maybe we should get Katie on first. We got Katie Bolts here.
Katie,
live. Come on down, Katie Bolts.
Katie Bolts? You call her Bolts?
She's got a new name.
What does Bolts mean?
Her original name. That's her actual name.
Oh, okay.
That's her actual name.
How did you come up with that one?
Thought I was just making up a name for her.
Oh, energy.
Hey, Katie. How are you? Good to see you.
Nice to see you also.
Love your enthusiasm. Love your energy. Happy you're here. We were just in pilgrimage together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It's amazing. Oh.
It was a great pilgrimage.
And the group really makes it too. Like, I feel like the places are amazing. And then the teacher, as well as the association that you have with you, really takes it to that next level.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
You got to keep this mic right up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Katie's been on the show before, at least once.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and Rishikesh.
Tell you a little bit about your story, how you found the podcast, and you know. A little bit of a backstory.
Yeah, so I'm a Joe Roganer. I was one of those people who listened to the show, and then the next day you guys had like I was one of those. I somehow some way, and I didn't even listen to Joe Rogan. I just randomly on YouTube, or I was like just searching because I was just searching for positive things, trying to figure out how to navigate and how to just you just have positive a lifestyle and stuff like that. And Joe Rogan popped up. I watched one episode. I was like, of someone else. And I was like, that was interesting. And then your thing literally dropped from Punk X Monk, like, and it literally just dropped. And
Christian Miracle.
it was and what really resonated with me, like a lot of the things that you said while you were talking on the show really resonated with me. And then what personally hit home, which made me want to check out the podcast, was when you're telling that story of you in Buffalo. Yeah, I know it's a little, but yeah, the story of you in Buffalo.
It was a little dark.
Yeah, it was a little dark, but it brought me to a really bright tunnel and a bright light. Yeah, because it brought me to the wisdom of the sages. And because I really wanted to figure out how, when going through such atrocity, like how to have a good mindset, like when everything's just hitting the fan and things are going bad, and even too, like physically, like when you zoned in and just decided to chant, wow, it really, really hit home for me. And so, and when I went to the podcast, a big hook was at the very beginning when you said Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo, like 3 times, because a few months ago I'd heard that, and it got stuck in my head and I couldn't stop saying it. And then when y'all said that and I started listening, I was listening frequently at that time. Like you said, it was COVID. I was working in a NICU and I had a lot of time. I wasn't necessarily like someone that like stayed at home.
You working in a what?
A neonatal intensive care unit.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for like teeny tiny, we call them Tic Tacs, little babies. Yeah, miracles, lots and lots of miracles happening there. And I had a lot of time because a lot of people got sent home, but I was an essential worker, working with the doctors. So yeah, and so I had a lot of free time that I could listen to things. And wisdom of the sages, I was listening 8 to 9 hours a day. Like I couldn't stop.
What?
Yeah, like for yeah, it was insane. And episode 15, Radhanath Swami, Turning of the Nectar of the Milk. That was the one that stole that took, like I've listened to that 15. Sharing of the Nectar of the Milk interview with Radhanath Swami at Govardhan Ecovillage.
Wow.
That, and I couldn't stop crying. It confused me because a lot of the things that you said resonated with me, but it was the story, the Sharing of the Nectar of the Milk, where the swords, the good and the evil, had to work together for a greater cause, and then God came and satisfied everybody. And everyone was happy, even though they were like opposing forces.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't stop crying, and then I just never stopped crying when it came to Kirtan or anything. And it's been blissful, and it's been amazing. I guess my backstory, to draw like why that Buffalo story hit so hard for me is I'm not gonna go into details just to keep this friendly and keep everyone's hearts high and keep the mood good. But just by arrangement, a lot of things in my life, honestly, since like a really long time, if I tell people my story, 9 times out of 10 they cry unless they've been to hell, or like have lived in hell. I'm sorry. And so, it's like so many different layers to that and so many different things. And I always wondered, like, why me? And in the very beginning of the show, y'all talked about nothing happens against you, but everything happens for you and for your benefit. And even though that doesn't help me, or I didn't magically heal from all these traumas, it gave me permission to stop blaming myself, or like to start maybe learning how, like, okay, well, maybe this is for me, maybe this is. And then every time that I called God, I kid you not, like if you sincerely call God, he shows up and he's loud. And not even like, because a big thing you said too, Amazon Prime, God is not Amazon Prime. Like you want to, and so that,
like, you're praying to God for stuff.
Yeah, for stuff.
And God is, when you're ready to give your life to God and call spirit in your life.
Yeah, and I just took that experiment. I was like, okay, well, I have nothing to lose. So, and very, very quickly, very, very loudly, I remember last year on pilgrimage, like, it's incredible. Like every year Krishna arranges somehow that I can be in great association. Last year, like, look where you are, because a few years ago I was homeless. Like a few years ago I was like going through just not great things. Most people around me back then, like I can't even count the amount of people that are like not even 30, never made it to 30, and were murdered. Like, so, or sorry, not to get dark or anything, but yeah, so like,
You got dark.
sorry.
You got dark there. Yeah, well,
yeah,
that was your experience, and
Mhm.
then you brought this light into your
it's totally
life.
changed my life. Yeah, like the amount of joy, the amount of association, like every time that I come around these communities or any time that I listen to, even when I listen to the show, like it's everything what I need in that moment of what I need to hear, my next step. I always feel so sheltered, which is something that I never really knew, knew before, and it was very foreign. And I'd really like to plug in like the Bhakti Recovery Group is incredible. I feel like it's a really great bridge. Like everything you guys say makes a lot of sense. And I feel like the Bhakti Recovery Group for people who've gone through things teaches them how to make that bridge to living what you guys are teaching. And you guys are incredibly accessible and make it like it I don't know, it makes I don't know, yeah, it's incredibly accessible. And then like I don't know, I feel like you guys also like that accessory of Bhakti Recovery, like it's a very powerful tag team together.
Well, sometimes when we've been through a lot of trauma, it's hard to move forward because I can't trust. I've been so devastated in my emotionally that I can't leave my comfort zone, and I'm not even comfortable in my comfort zone anymore. So it's hard. It's very difficult to move forward because I'm so stuck in my past.
Yes.
And sometimes we need to do that work just so we can chant the holy name and not criticize people, not find fault with people, and not and release ourselves of resentments that I've been carrying around and self-loathing that I'm carrying around. And the fact that, I mean, when people have, know a little bit about your story because you share with me, I consider you like a daughter of mine.
Thanks, Dad.
But a lot of people have been through the type of hell you've been through, end up on the streets, heroin addicts, prostitutes, dead.
Yeah.
And in fact, that fact that you've engaged yourself in so many positive, I mean, you're incredibly sharp. You're incredibly smart. You're good at computers. You're good at health. You're good at yoga. You're good at
Cars.
cars. Yeah, she knows a little bit. I mean, it's amazing how much this woman knows. And so whatever you did, you took a lot of your pain and put it in education. and I, because people do try to cover up pain with stuff,
Yeah.
and sometimes that stuff is real problematic. But you've perhaps covered up a lot of that pain with just keeping busy.
Oh, 100%. I'm a workaholic like crazy, and that's probably why I've dipped my toes in so many things, trying to just run away from those feelings. But then also at the same time, like, yeah, like I feel like there's a huge lifeline and like bhakti, and like it applies and it goes in everywhere. And I really feel like, yes, I do take things like learning about healthy things. Like I'm all about like fitness. I'm all about nutrition. I'm all about like all these, and it just
I mean, I went to the hospital for my pulled muscle in my arm to see if it was torn, and the doctor looked at me for like 2 seconds. It's not torn. You're good. You can go home. Katie gave me a whole rundown of, well, even though it's not torn, you're still ways to work that arm. You got to, she gave me exercises to help rebuild that muscle. The doctor told me nothing. Anyway, my point is that you filled your mind with the positive things. And perhaps it was like maybe an escape from the pain.
Definitely.
Fill your mind with the positive.
yeah.
But I want you to understand, we shared this the other day, that what you've done now by getting so deep into your bhakti path, it's not running away from the pain, actually. It's actually reclaiming your identity. And a lot of times, even with Western therapy, we try to go back to our past. We try to forgive our past. We try to understand our past. We try to say, where do we move here from now? And I think that's important, but sometimes it can leave you in the past. And you can't get out of that, oh, it wasn't fair, etc. I don't see that with you. I see you're diving into your bhakti, is actually diving into your reality and moving forward in such a great way. I really feel like it's therapy for you as well.
No, I would totally agree. I don't want to discredit therapy. I know therapy is good. I know it helps so many people. And I know that you have to find the right therapist that fits you.
Sure.
I've tried countless therapists, it's never helped. And it wasn't until like coming into the Wisdom of the Sages community, and then the like steroid effect, the Bhakti Recovery Group, like it wasn't until those two things, like
And
like
now you're taking you're taking bhakti recovery very serious. You work with
I work with a sponsor now, and it's like an everyday work. And that's the thing too, like I feel like I was in like that honeymoon phase of bhakti for a little, and I'm so grateful for those tools that you gave me in regards to like not every like don't just don't just assume something is what it is if you're like if you feel offended or
Right.
or if you don't understand, like if the language doesn't connect with you well, like ask questions and inquire. Or just like in the beginning of the podcast, you said if you don't understand something, that's fine. Like, and that's fine. You don't have to try to worry about it. Just take what works for you, and then leave what doesn't. And it's the body. So I was in a honeymoon phase, and now I feel like now I'm reaching that point where. No, I need to choose bhakti. I'm not in the honeymoon phase anymore. This is like actual work, and that work's not always the most comfortable, but it's the most rewarding.
Yeah, it's the breakdown before the breakthrough.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys
You're
so much.
inspirational, Katie. We love you. Part of our family.
Love you guys. I seriously owe my lives to you guys and the Wisdom of the Sage community. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. We got time for one more. Pranapriya.
Sure.
You've been listening to Bhagavatam every day. How has this affected you?
Come on.
She's like, no one wants to hear my story.
We were gonna unmute fill him up with Bhakti, who's more eloquent than I am.
Fill him up with Bhakti, but I hear you too.
Fill him up with bhakti.
Fill him up with Bhakti.
Hare Krishna. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, brother. How are you?
Doing well here in the mountains of North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina. I just want to thank you all for being such a huge part of my journey, and a big turning point about 2.5 years ago when I first discovered the Wisdom of the Sages podcast, and it kind of propelled me on what's become a bhakti path for me. So thank you both.
What's your story?
Well, about 15 years ago, I became a 12-step guy, by hook or crook, but there I was. And by the grace of God, I had a chance to change my life. And, I started seeking. I got into meditation, started, listening to all sorts of paths and teachers, and would start to listen to Kirtan quite a bit, really got into the music side of it, would listen to kind of the new age type stuff from the, some of these different artists and so forth, got into Krishna Das and would see Kirtan shows and that sort of thing, would hang out at a local song circle Kirtan here in Asheville. And it always felt right. And about 2.5 years ago or so, I was talking to a friend after the song circle, and we were talking about reincarnation. And I had some doubts about it. And I said, if reincarnation is a thing, then maybe. And this friend, I'll give her a shout out, Shanaz Om, who's a regular, said, hey, the next day she sent me a link to the most recent Q&A that you guys had done, which happened to be on the subject of reincarnation. She said, hey, give this a shot. See what you think. And I listened to that.
Shared it with a friend.
Yeah, shared it with a friend. I listened to that. I'm like, I dig this podcast. I dig these guys. I'm going to keep listening. And I kept listening. Meanwhile, I was a regular visitor at the Temple of the Universe, Michael Singer's place in Alachua.
Yeah.
So I would come down to Alachua on my own independently and go to that temple and hang out with that community and go there for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these things.
So Michael Singer wrote a best-selling book called, what's it called?
The Untethered Soul.
The Untethered Soul. Great book.
Yeah. And so
very interesting guy. And it's very bhakti inspired, I'd say. And he has a whole place in Alachua of all places where a big Krishna community is. So you were going down there on a regular basis.
Yeah, I was going down there on a regular basis. Hadn't really occurred to me that there was, the biggest ISKCON community in North America there and so forth. But I was talking to somebody down there, and I mentioned Wisdom of the Sages. And this new friend of mine said, I was just hanging out with Kastuba in India, of all places. And he said, you should go to a 6-hour kirtan at the ISKCON temple here in Alachua, which is later tonight on a Saturday night. And I showed up and I walked into the temple and everything changed. I was like,
Wow.
I'm home. This is where I belong.
Wow.
I scooted right up towards the front near the harmonium, and the 6 hours flew by. And next thing you know, it was a turning point that, bhakti became the focus. And suddenly I'm waking up early in the morning without an alarm clock and showing up as a regular Zoomer. Next thing I know, I'm chanting japa. Next thing you know, I'm joining sage groups, and I'm joining Śrīmad Bhāgavatam classes in the evening that I can listen in on. Meanwhile, most of the literature, Kastuba, is going way over my head. I don't really get it, and I just feel like there's something working here, though, almost by osmosis. That if I keep showing up and keep listening to it, it keeps on kind of sinking in and working on me. And so many of my tastes have changed. I was I still am. I was a huge Grateful Dead guy, a sober Grateful Dead fan, which is called a wharf rat. I go to shows with a bunch of sober friends and so forth. But, all I really want to do now is chant the holy name, listen to Kirtan, and hang out with people like y'all. And it's helped my life so much. And I'll end with this. Recently I went through something really difficult. I lost my father, earlier this month. Or last month in early December, and another like kind of Krishna miracle deal. I would share about it with my sage group. I was down at the hospital in Florida in St. Petersburg, and my dad was in ICU and all these things, and I would take an hour break and get on the sage group on Zoom and let folks know what was going on with me, and they're praying for me and all these things. Well, after my dad passed away, one of the sage group members sent me a link to a episode about a year ago, 13 months ago, when Kastuba's mother had left her body. And they said, I just heard this. I thought you might benefit from listening to it. Here it is. And on one of my trips, I've been going back and forth from North Carolina to Florida to deal with all this Florida stuff like crazy, or this family stuff like crazy. And I listened to the show. And I felt compelled to reach out to Kastuba afterwards and thank him for how much that helped me, his podcast about his mom. And he wrote me this beautiful message back and encouraged me to reach out to you guys up at Super Soul Farm, because you happen to be having a kirtan a few days later, that weekend, just a couple weekends ago. And he said, hey, in our tradition, we sponsor a feast and in honor of those who have passed. And I reached out to you guys, and you guys had the wonderful evening there and put up photos of my father and so forth, which is was so touching to me, and also my mom and things like that. And I just
made a special offering.
She made a special cake, delicious cake, and the idea is that you're offering it to the deities, and then
offering the departed the prasadam.
The prasad to the departed.
And then satisfying all of the bhakti yogis, all the Vaishnavas there.
And they were all eating that cake with just great joy.
And blessings for that person.
And it was a potluck, so it's not like he sponsored the whole feast. So we said, there's nothing to sponsor. I said, well, you could sponsor something that Pranapriya makes. So Pranapriya did something very, very crafty. Because it was time for dessert, she hid all the other sweets that people made so they would just fully enjoy the cake and get the blessings.
That's Krishna miracle.
The blessings to your father.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, it was just so touching that 1,000 miles away or whatnot, all the way up there in New York, that was happening in honor of my dad. And I got to meet Raghunath at the Festival of the Holy Name a few weeks back. I got to meet Greg DeGesu and a bunch of other Wisdom of the Sages folks. So it's all sort of coming to life for me in a lot of ways. You guys had my buddy Rishi on the show, a while back. He was part of my community kirtan scene here in Asheville, North Carolina, but I had no idea he was a devotee, and certainly I had no idea he was a Prabhupada disciple until he published the book, and he handed me the book, and I was like, oh my goodness. One of my buddies here is a Prabhupada disciple. And next thing you know, he and I are driving down to the Sadhu Sangha in Orlando, and I'm hanging out with him. So it's just like, this thing has been unbelievable for me for the last 2.5 years since I discovered the podcast. And I feel really grateful, really blessed to have had the introduction, and I'm excited to continue on this path.
What a ride. What a ride we've been on.
Wild ride.
Whew.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
Now I
thank
got
you so
the
much.
real more full picture of your journey here.
Thank you.
Thanks. Fill them up with bhakti. We give everybody, if you're on Zoom, we give you a nickname. That's the show. Well, that's the show. What a nice show that was.
Thank you,
I could
everyone.
listen to this forever.
Yeah.
The stories. It's so interesting. And it's interesting how Krishna has a specific recipe for each person. And he uses our past karma, our past ups and downs, whatever we went through, our family situation. It all gets used for our purification. So that phrase, it doesn't happen to us, it happens for us, really comes to life because it got us here. Got us here, sitting in India, hearing the holy name, dancing, singing, feasting, offering our hearts, our words, our lives. As we see Katie dancing. Katie jumped up from the middle of Satsang today, just started spinning in the back of the room like a woman possessed by spirit. Thanks, Rory, for joining us. Narayani's here too. Narayani's never missed a show. And Henry's here. Thanks, everybody, joining us live. You want to join us live, you can do it. You can get on wisdomsages.com, get the link to join the Zoom. It's fun to join up live. You meet some friends, extra friends there. And remember, we're going to Mayapur. If anyone wants to break away, come to Mayapur with us. At the end of this trip, we're going right there on Monday, the 26th of February 2nd, just a week. And Mayapur will melt your heart. The land of Kirtan, the land of Lord Chaitanya. Thank you so much, everybody. Pranapriya, I want to give appreciation for Pranapriya all this year, showing up.
Yes.
Woo! He does a lot. Here she is.
There. Thank you, Pranapriya.
Never ask for anything. He's always here for us. Duba, thank you.
Thank you, Raghunath.
6 years, brother.
Let's do another 6.
Let's do another 6.
We'll be 66 then.
Yeah.
Or about to turn 66.
What was that? 54 when we started this? I'm going to have my birthday soon, people. Round the bend to 60. Woo! Let the magic continue to flow. Maha Haribo. Have a great New Year's, everybody.